please.
Yeah, just streaming. Give me the code.
I'd like to recognize the presence of all the deans of the schools, where Shoni Amola, represented by Mr. Ogunleti, deans of schools. We would like you to move to the front row here. The front row. All the deans that have called.
The principal officers of this all-important college, our special guest of honor, he was told about 36 hours ago for him to help honor us this morning. He is supposed to have a meeting around 1 p.m. today in Abeokuta. Yet, we decided to again the Chief Executive Officer of Felix Fountain Limited, and their distinguished resource persons here assembled, and I'll mention them maybe for a while. And please help me to applaud them when I mention the names. They may be seated and they may not be here immediately because they have a time schedule for them to make their presentation. Our brother, Mr. Boye Kukola, IART, the boss of the Federal College of Animal Health and Production Technology, Mr. Ayodele Olayinka, the Deputy Director at NRS office here in Ibadan, Mr. Ubenga Oshikoto, the Director of Research, Dr. Bukola Aminu Taiwo. They may not be seated today also. Let me recognize at this point the staff and students of this great citadel of learning, and in particular to say 001, who is leading his team player at the corner, the president of the Student Union Government of the Federal College of Authority, more plantation about. Our host community, very, very special. To stand before you this morning, to welcome you. Very especially, I appreciate our President and Commander-in-Chief of Armed Forces of this country, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, for the approval for us to have this event in human resource development. It's not the first time. It's a program that has been happening, and I believe it will continue to happen. But then, 2025 has done, and the project is still available for us to utilize. Ordinarily, if we are not a very good president, as the year went by, so also that fund allocated would also have gone by. And I think we should thank the president very much. On this note, because the year has passed and we're all very interested in having this program last year, I will especially apologize to members of staff who have had to wait this very long time. But then they say it's better late than never. And I think coming at this point in time, it's still better than not having it at all. So again, I thank you for your patience and for coming around to benefit from this today. What is different about what we want to do today? We had thought and we had analyzed the project. It is called Human Capital Development in Agriculture. And we thought that 105 years ago, of staff, students, and the host community, as a school, to really interpret the human capacity development in agriculture. So again, I want to welcome you. And as I welcome you, I also want to inform you that we have assembled high-level experts. As we were told earlier on, when I mentioned our resource persons, they are people of timber and caliber, people well experienced in the system. Yes, some of them may be very close to us, but then their experiences are very tough. And I think they come to speak to you. I want to encourage you to pay attention. And use your Bible, use your pen, or use your notepad to take notes of what they will be telling you. Because they will matter so much as you go along. We have this opening ceremony this morning, and by tomorrow, we'll be going into syndicate sessions, meaning that different groups for different training. We are not going to pull you all together to do a common training because your needs are different. And that is why we assemble these experts. And therefore, we look forward to the syndicate sessions and the graduation ceremony. The graduation ceremony is when you'll be getting your certificates at the end of the training program. And of course, like the head of public relations mentioned, we want to cover you very well with a picture so that nobody will say we didn't do the training. So if he asks you to come to the front, please come to the front. There are seats in the front that are not. Keep coming to the front. You will not think that you are coming late. Just come to the front and take the seat. It will even be seen that you came earlier than those at the back. Ladies and gentlemen, at this point, I must sincerely once again thank our special guest of honor. Our special guest of honor has become a household name to us. He is an alumnus of the Federal College of Agriculture, Akure. But then, it was not just a single college at that time. It was a twin college with the Federal College of Agriculture, more plantation. Even though we are the senior, but we have to come together as sisters at such points. He graduated from there with distinction in his diploma and proceeded to the Federal College of Federal University of Agriculture, Abeokuta, where he graduated with a distinction. First class, rather, with first class from we have known ourselves for over about 40 years now, 36 years. He was our best student in the class. He was the best student in the university. And he was the best student across the two federal universities for agriculture that were running at that time. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a singular honor to have Professor Adebayo here today. That is not enough. This man is the same person here in December last year, and so the prizes were given to our graduates, our best students. And he said, Provost, what is this? That I will do something here and give us 750,000 naira. Wow. 500,000 for best HSD and 250,000 for the program. That was not all. I'm not reading the citation. I'm only welcoming him. That was not all. Within 72 hours after he left here, and because they have not heard from us, send the account numbers of those awardees. They are now to ask us to submit to him. And we did that and immediately the students were credited with the cash directly from his organization. His presence here now continue. But because of the time and the interest to quickly round up this training workshop, so that we can see what is due to us at the end of the day. Not the knowledge alone, the fact that we must also provide your logistics. So I won't waste your time more. But I can preempt it. There are many more things are going to come. Please also that is going to also facilitate our having grants even to be implemented in this college. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, I pray that God bless you all. To our students, I'm proud to say, and every time, all time, they remain the most well-behaved students as presented. I thought you were going to clap for this as students and you are. They are the most well-behaved students in the course. It is because it's a product. So if you don't clap for your product, you will clap. I must also thank, finally, Felix Fountain. I don't know whether it's here. It's Felix Fountain Ventures here, the organizer of this training workshop. Well, in his absence, because I've not seen any indication, I will on your behalf appreciate Felix Fountain, CEO. It was not a very comfortable thing for him to do. You are aware that there was human capacity training in 2024. It's the same contractor that won the award. He organized that and paid all the money that were necessary to be paid to those who attended and everyone. However, as we speak, he has not been paid that contract sum. I don't know whether you heard me. He's yet to receive the money of 2024 training workshop organized. Then you can either take a very good person to again look down on us or look at us and say, yes, I have not been paid. Yes, I know this training workshop is very important to staff. I will still stick out my neck. Again, what you're going to do today and whatever you are going to receive is still going to bankroll it himself. We are still at the stage of warrant, meaning that it's just a mandate, no cash at all. But they are choosing again to help us. And I may also add, I don't know whether you have been told, that the budget 2025 was split into two. 30% of 2025 was meant to continue until September 2026. And the balance of 70% will then become the 2026 budget. So ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you and I declare this conference open. God bless our whole community. God bless the program according to our country. God bless your state. God bless Nigeria. Thank you.
I expected that to stand up to if you want, he has worked. He will still work, and he will still work for us. Thank you very much. Let's have the provost has mentioned the student union government led by Olúwafẹ́mi Arana. Thank you for coming. We appreciate you coming and being part of us. Then for the community, the invitees from the community, we have Mr. Gbenga Popola, Mr. Stanley Onwuche, Alasa Alice, Pastor Akonde Expo, and Chief Akintunde Christopher. If you are in the house, please can you rise up for recognition? All the people I've mentioned. Anybody here?
Thank you,
sir. I would like to call Chief Akintunde Christopher,
I know we can
representing Bora community invitee to please come to the item. Chief Christopher Akitonde, the round of applause for this. All the students that came with, go over. Thank you very much. Permit me to read to us the citation of an erudite professor, Professor Falawani Adebayo, before I will call him to give his goodwill message. The profile of Professor Falawani Adebayo. Professor Bola Adebayo is the former Deputy Chancellor, Development at the Federal University of Agriculture, Abeokuta. He joined the services of the university in 1995 as a graduate assistant and became a professor in 2013. He was also made a visiting professor at the University of Greenwich in 2014. He has been engaged in teaching, research, and extension activities mainly focusing on uptake of innovations in smallholder farming, sustainable funding of agricultural development, rural livelihoods, and environmental management since 1995. He is very active in international and multidisciplinary development initiatives, rising to become one of the leaders in the cassava sector in Africa. The cumulative external research and development grants that he has attracted to the university, either singly or in collaboration with others, have surpassed $42 million. He deserves a round of applause for the. He holds a PhD in International and Agricultural Development on the Split Site Commonwealth Scholarship from both the University of Agriculture, Abeokuta, and the University of Reading. He also holds a Diploma in Agriculture with distinction from the University of Ife, School of Agriculture, Akure, in 1986, and a Bachelor of Agriculture, First Class Honors from the University of Agriculture, Abeokuta, in 1994. He has published over 92 articles, books, chapters in books, and presented academic and development papers in national and international forums, spanning more than 35 years. Of us were not born as at that time. Let's give him a round of applause for that. He has served, among others, in the following capacities and projects. A. Project Director, Cassava, Adding Value for Africa Phase 2, Cover 2, with partners in Nigeria, Ghana, Tanzania, Uganda, Malawi, and United Kingdom. The total project value is $18.8 million, funded by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. It is implemented from April 2014 to March 2019. Although the national emphasis and stage of development of the cassava value chains vary among the countries, the project achieved its overall plan of creating demand for over 2 million tons of fresh cassava roots from at least 200,000 smallholders. Number 2, Team Leader. Energy Outlook Nigeria, sponsored by Région Nord France on behalf of Renault as part of its incubation projects on electromobility in Africa in 2021. Number 3, Consultant reviewed Ogun State Agricultural Policy, sponsored by the Duke Gelescha Fund International Sumazanabi, GIZ, Pro-Poor Group, and Promotion of Employment in Nigeria, SEDIN, technical support for the review, formulation, and implementation of Ogun State Agricultural Policy in 2021. Number 4, Environmental Specialist, Ogun State Economic Transformation Project, OGSTEP, sponsored by the World Bank, 2021. Number 5, Consultant, West African Competitiveness Program, support for the cassava industry implemented at the United Nations International Trade Center, with funds from the European Union between 2022 and 2024, and says, training agroecological farming, program for sustainable agriculture in West Africa, AgriCoFarm, co-funded by the Erasmus Plus program of the European Union 2024 to 2026. And finally, is the project director, Women in Sourcing and Enterprising WISE program funded by the Mastercard Foundation with IDH as lead implementation partner 2025 to 2027. And coordinator, leading African FONAB Agribusiness Apprenticeship Scheme, SAFAS, with funds from the Livelihood Support and Development Center within 2025 and to date. I'd like to invite, when you say man with humility, with a lot of wisdom, and a man living an impactful life, that is an area professor. Please come forward.
Provost, Federal College of Agriculture, Ibadan, my dear friend, Professor J.J. Atuka, a contractor, Fenes Phantom Limited, who is in charge of making this human capacity development project into reality. We all know the character of working with government. I'm sure the institution will do everything in its power to ensure that you are paid for this that you are doing. Distinguished resource persons, Mr. Yodele Olayinka, Dr. Bukola Abenu Taiwo, and Mr. Olugbenga Oshibote. Mr. Oshibote she was my class, was my roommate at the School of Agriculture. Good to see you. Just a few years ago. You can see how young he is. Thank you so much. One of the things that I've enjoyed particularly in agriculture is the relationships that we have built over the years. In this room, there are many people with whom I have crossed paths in my career. I can see Atilade right in front here. He was one of my teachers as well. We are all colleagues now. He's my lecturer at School of Agriculture, Federal College of Agriculture, Ibadan. Since I'm still an anonymous, one way or the other. As the provost said, when we were School of Agriculture, we were both School of Agriculture, University of Ife, and that's when I graduated. So I can safely claim my of this institution. So my lecturers. Having said that, it is gratifying to note that human capital development is considered a key impact position of the federal government of Nigeria at this particular point in time. There's no gainsaying that human capital is perhaps the most important resource that any organization could have. For those of us who are old enough to remember when Western education came to Nigeria, I'm sure there are a few people in this room who are as old as 200 or 300 years now. You recall that the only thing that the priests who are establishing those mission schools brought was the human capital. They didn't have classrooms, they didn't have money, they had nothing, just a human who is willing to teach. And some of us who went to mission schools, particularly in rural areas, As far back as the 60s in Ibadan, there are schools where there is only one teacher for the entire primary 1 to 6. And if you go far enough into some rural area in Nigeria today, you will find schools with only one teacher, at most 2 or 3, teaching the entire primary 1 to 6. Yet, students from some of these schools will go to secondary school through competitive examinations. They will come to higher institutions and date the rest of us who have gone to the best schools of this world. The message from here is that if you develop human resource capacity, you are actually developing all other resources. Because it's human capacity who will bring the money, it's human capacity who will manage the labor, it's human capacity who would reflect whatever strategy and opinions that you have as a leader. So I'm very glad, therefore, to be invited. I was invited yesterday, and I nearly not come. But you know, when you have a friend that you cannot say no to, you are hooked already. Your provost, my friend, is such a friend. If he asks me for something, it would have to take, maybe God didn't want that thing to happen for me to say no. So, I'm here. My motto is that no nation can grow beyond its human capacity. Nobody will develop this nation for us. Foreign investors don't develop any place. They come to make money from resources and potential that the locals didn't see. That is why Europeans will come to Africa, Chinese will come to Nigeria, Indians will come to Nigeria, and they will become multi-millionaires after a few years. But it's not just one-sided. Nigerians will go to South Africa, Nigerians will go to America, they will go to Canada, and within a few years, they will become successful. These are human resources that have been developed. They only need a place to express themselves. The message therefore is that let us take this program very seriously and learn whatever we can that can then improve us as a person. Whether we stay in Nigeria or we move overseas, there is an opportunity for us to develop ourselves and become better in whatever we do. As it has now become tradition that every time I am invited to this campus, I must say something. Say something. I think it's still within my power this year, the 2026-27 cohort of Marshall Pampworth Foundation Scholars for the Sustainable Agriculture Program at the Upper Adams University in the United Kingdom. Federal College of Agriculture Ibadan, through your provost, sir, you have one slot in the program. Please let us sit down. I don't know who will go, but I know one person will go. So that one is for us. For students, if you still have the capacity to be the graduating student with the highest CGPA at HND or at OMB level, you will still have the Sweden Africa Cash Award for I guess that's my widow's mind to human capacity development at the oldest higher institution in Nigeria. Thank you very much.
A standing ovation, a loud applause for him. Please. Thank you, Professor Adebayo. Thank you, sir, for imparting humanity all the time. I would like to contractor executing this human capacity development and training project for 2025 projects is no other person than the CEO of Felix Quantum Limited, Dr. Kumolu Olumide. Please come to my Unfortunately, he came in good time. Maybe I shouldn't allow you to go too fast because you will still come back here. Yes. Is the next person on the program? He's going to. Is the one providing the money for this project. Let's give him a round of applause for that. Apart from that, he's been a very consistent person who is worthy of being thanked and emulated. He's a very good fellow to us here in the college. So he's going to be the one to tell us about the federal government of Nigerian expectations from this particular training that we have come for. So let's take time to listen to him and to learn one or two things from what he has to say, to drink from his wealth of wisdom. One or more of us in the future may find ourselves in a contractor like this, in this kind of setups. So we need to learn from people that have been there. So I will respectfully call the contractor in charge of this program we're having today, the Human Capacity Development Program project. Dr. Kumolu Olumide, please come forward. Let's keep clapping to the lecturers.
Good morning. The chief host, Professor Jonathan J. Atembo, as the provost, Federal College of Plantation Medicine. Our special guest of honor, our distinguished Professor Kolawole, principal officers of the college, our distinguished resource person, management staff and students of the Federal College of Agriculture, Ibadan, esteemed members of our host communities, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I'll start by saying that it's my profound honor on behalf of the management and the entire team of Felix Quantum Limited to welcome us all to this 3 days Human Capacity Development Training Workshop. When the MC was introducing me as the MD-CEO of Felix Quantum. So I just want to do a little correction there. I'm a director of Felix Quantum. So I'm standing for the MD of Felix Quantum. I count it a privilege to stand before this distinguished gathering today and to be entrusted with the responsibility of speaking to the very heart of why we assembled here this morning, namely the expectation of the Federal Government of Nigeria for this important intervention. Let me begin, as it's fitting, by expressing our deep and sincere gratitude to the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR. whose administration has placed human capacity development and food security at the very center of the national agenda under the renewal project. We are equally grateful to the supervising ministry, that is, I believe, Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security, and this agency at the Federal College of Agriculture of Plantation for the vision and the policy direction and the funding that have together made this workshop possible. This program is delivered under the Human Capacity Development Project of the Federal Government Appropriation 2025 Capital Project. And I wish to emphasize that, and I wish to emphasize that point, because it tells us something important about the spirit in which we must approach the next 3 years. It is not a courtesy event. It is not a ceremony to be observed and forgotten. It is a deliberate, budgeted and accountable investment by the federal government in the people of this institution and in the community that this college was established to serve. Public funds has been committed to it, and public funds carry public expectation. Permit me also to place on record our sincere appreciation as a consultant to the chief host, Professor Jonathan, and to the entire management of the Federal College of Agriculture and Plantation for the warmth of your reception and the readiness with which this college has embraced this initiative. As consultants, we can only provide the program, but the institution can turn that program into lasting change. The enthusiasm we have already witnessed from the provost, as is the principal officer of this college, the staff, and the students has assured us that this investment has fallen on the fertile ground. I was also acknowledged with great presentation. The special guest of honor, Professor Kolawole Adebayo, whose distinguished record in agricultural development and institutional leadership lends great weight, just as we have seen today, and the inspiration to this gathering. We are honored to have the presence. Distinguished participants, our company, Felix Phantom Limited, comes before you, not merely as a service provider, but as a faithful steward of a federal government mandate. We specialize in training, seminar workshops, and resource management. And we understand that we have been engaged to do far more than fill a hall and distribute certificates. We have been engaged to deliver measurable capacity with the understanding, family in mind. Permit me now to say before you, clearly and without ambiguity, what the federal government expects from this intervention. The federal government does not fund training for its own sake. Behind this workshop stands a clear and considered set of expectations, and I believe it is my duty in this opening to state them plainly so that every participant understands the weight of what we are about to undertake together. Our number one expectation is to have value for money and strict accountability. Every naira committed to this project is public money drawn from the 2025 capital budget and ultimately belongs to the Nigerian people. The government rightly expects that it is spent prudently, transparently, and accounted for fully. On our part, as we are committed to delivering this workshop in full, to specifications, and with complete documentation and transparency. We expect, in turn, that every beneficiary of this knowledge will treat it as its valuable public asset and that exactly is what it is. And we carry the same standard of stewardship into their own offices, departments, firms, and all this. Our second expectation, and our second expectation of the federal government is capacity as a field, not merely on attendance. The government does not measure success of an intervention by attendance registrar or by the number of field. It measures success by changed competencies, improved attitude, and demonstrable better performance. The clear expectation is that the staff, the student leader, and the community member who pass through this training will leave more capable than they came, better equipped in knowledge, in skills, and in the position to deliver agricultural excellence, productivity, and effective service. 3 days from now, the question will not be whether you are present, but whether you are changed. The third expectation is tangible and measurable service delivery. This intervention is tied directly to the team chosen for this workshop, which is building capacity for agricultural excellence, productivity, and effective service delivery. The government expects that the registry will serve faster and more consciously, that funds will be managed with integrity, and at timelines that productivities will rise visibly across departments and units, and that this college will function not as a building of routine, but as a genuine engine of national food and nutrition security. Service delivery is the true currency in which the success of this investment will be measured. Another aspect is the innovation and the pursuit of food security. Nigeria today faces real and present challenge in food security, in the cost of living, and in the productivity of its agricultural value chain. The federal government expects institutions such as this to be part of the solution and not by standards to the problem. The suggestion is that this college will move agriculture decisively from the laboratory and the field to the fork and the marketplace. That it will build innovation hubs and that it will generate practical, scalable solutions to the real problem confronting southwestern Nigeria and the nation at large. I would like to draw your attention to a deliberate design feature of this workshop. It is not an internal staff retreat. The intentional inclusion of the community members and student leaders alongside staff reflects the government within this work is expected to strengthen the wider community, to deepen the bonds between the college and its neighbor, and to ensure that no segment of our society is left behind in the national drive for agricultural transformation. Finally, the government expects that the gains of these 3 days will far outlast the 3 days themselves. The knowledge shared here must not evaporate when we depart on Friday. It must be institutionalized in the system and culture of this college, faithfully captured in the workshop community, and carried forward into daily practice. An investment that produces a single fleeting event as failed. An investment that sees a permanent improvement in how these institutional things and work as truly succeed. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, let's be clear about the division of responsibility that lies before us in the coming years. Our whole role as consultants to the federal government is to deliver, to provide an excellent program, to assemble credible and accomplished resource persons, and to create an environment in which real learning can take place. The resource persons which have been drawn from different parts of the country to IIRT and others program and the leadership of this very college will do their part by pouring their considerable expertise into us. The federal government has done its own part through us by providing the resources that has brought us here today. The remaining part, and I dare say the most important part, rests squarely with you and I, the participants. It is yours to receive, it is yours to question, to internalize, and ultimately to apply. No budget, however generous, and no important, however diligent, can build capacity in a participant who chooses not to engage. The success of this federal government investment will, in the final analysis, be written not in our own report as a consultant, but in your conduct, in your competence, and your contribution long after this project has been concluded. On the part of FedEx Capital Nigeria Limited, I give you our firm and unreserved assurance we will execute this mandate faithfully, professionally, and to the full satisfaction of the federal government and of this great institution. We are not here merely to conduct a workshop and debate. We are here to help build the human capacity upon which agricultural excellence, productivity, and food security in Nigeria ultimately depends. That is a responsibility we have accepted with utmost seriousness and pride. I therefore charge every participant in this hall to engage fully over these stages, ask your questions, challenge ideas presented to you. Take notes. You will return to form the relationship and the resolution that will outline this, that will outlast this event. Above all, let us leave this all on Friday with at least one concrete thing we will do differently. One problem we will resolve. One process we will improve on. One standard we have raised. Let us together honor this investment by ensuring that it produces precisely the result the federal government and indeed the Nigerian people expect of all of us. Once again, I thank the provost, which is the chief host, the special guest of honor, the principal officers, our distinguished resource persons, ladies and gentlemen, every staff and community participants for your presence and your commitment. It is now my privilege and pleasure to welcome us to this workshop and to wish us 3 productive and rewarding days together. God bless the Federal College of Agriculture. God bless your states. God bless the Federal College of Agriculture.
A better round of applause for him. Thank you very much, sir. To do justice to the lead paper for this first day of our 3-day human capacity training is no other person than our own very provost, Professor Jonathan J. Atungo. I want this result to welcome him to do that for us. He's presenting a paper. It's not a good day message this time. He's presenting a paper. Not an government thing right now.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, I'm to talk to what I call System Thinking 2.0. About 2 months ago, in this very hall, I had the cause to have System Thinking 1.0. Then it was to address the leaders in the college here. Of course, it's going to be very difficult for me to go back to 1.0, but then I have the privilege to mention that my focus today is on bringing character, competence, and capacity in agriculture, looking at the theme of what we have before us today. Let me again recognize the protocol as earlier on established. I'll just put in it that will come up. But the reflection is this. We're up here. This is a hall. And if you look around, okay, stay away. If you look around, we're going to find different people in terms of complexion, in terms of the height, in terms of the size, in terms of anything that you want to look at. Of course, one thing stands out. Your thumbprint is different from any other person. But that is yours. We are together. Without this room here, we will not be here. Now, if you go to the room and the seats are not there, you can sit down. There's no air for you to breathe, then you can't get, you can't stay. And therefore, in a system like this, we believe the interconnectedness of every part that makes this organization. And for me, nobody is more important than the other. Nobody. I always give an example. If I have to come to work in the morning, the driver comes to pick me. So my driver is more important to me than myself because he has to pick me. Now if I get to the office, somebody has to open the door for me. And so that person opening the door for me again is more important than myself. And so for us, we are interconnected on the basis of the fact that we have students, we have the community, we have the lecturers, we have the non-teaching staff, we have the alumni, we have the visitors, the stakeholders, the contractors that are here with us. So we are interconnected. But like I said, I'm not going to go into System 1.0. I will focus on the framework for building ourselves for the food system in a manner that will be credible, in a manner that will uphold integrity. I want to confess this. Character, competence, and are actually not my words. They are words I picked from the highly respected woman of this country. I don't know, it's a long name, I don't know whether I'm able to get it right name. Dr. Ezekiel Selisi. Did I get it? Yes. Yeah, he mentioned at one interview, and somebody asked him, he was faced with the press, that among the leaders, particularly those who are trying to come out to lead us, I don't want to talk about the details. Because as I stand here, you and I know where I belong to. I have one man that I will support for that position. The person who appointed me to be here. So if they ask him the question, that who would she want to support? And he said he has her distinction. That's one of character, somebody who is competent and has capacity. So these were her words. In the face of a human being. But then I'm here standing before you, looking at that not exactly in the face of a human being. I'm looking at it from the face of the agricultural sector which we are brought here to do. You say, character. Let's start from that. Who are we? Who am I? I do when I'm before people? What do I do when nobody is with me? And more importantly, when nobody is with me, is not with me, it's when it's even more dangerous. Because somebody is still seeing me. It's my character. But then I leave it for purpose of beginning the introduction to my presentation. We talk about competence. What do we know? What can we do well? And I can focus on that as a point of interest. Because the first one, I can't judge anybody. You cannot judge me. It's all about you. It's your morals, it's your business, it's not my business. But then when you come to competence, it bothers me. And I'm concerned about it. I take interest in this. And I say, we have, of course, before you got here employed, before I got here to take this position, before these students were admitted, there was a group. And therefore, to have you trained, you have your certificate, you came in here, and there are trainings and retraining. Government will tell us that right from the World Group and for many years, they are providing fund for human capacity training. Am I correct? And therefore they expect that you have been well trained, and therefore you can do very much well the job that you have to do. But then things keep changing. And therefore as things changes, you therefore have to catch up with the events that are trending. And therefore training and retraining becomes very, very clear important. What about capacity? You are equipped. Yes, you are equipped. What do you do with it? The CEO, he corrected us, but I'll stand on that. There is no CEO who is the director, but he's the CEO before us. Am I correct? Because it's presented, and so he stands in this our board as the CEO. Am I correct? He has said it, and I didn't want to waste our time on this. That there's expectation, there's this commitment, there's this responsibility. It is expected that we will be able to scale our delivery. And that is very important. Now, I brought in this word as a Trinity seeds. They cannot stand alone on their own. They have to come together as a bridge for our cultural transformation. I don't know if you ask us question. It's very important as African Nigeria. I don't want to go and stay anywhere and live any part of this country as where I want to stay forever. When I say forever, for my lifetime, I prefer to stay in Nigeria. If you give me any reason to go out and stay back there, I won't go. Because if one of us has to go, then who will build Nigeria? Because when you go there, you must come back one day. And if you decide to stay there forever, your children will come back. And therefore it's important that we look at the asset God has given to us, about 220 million people. And we are told that in the next 22 years or 24 years or thereabouts, we are going to go to 400 million people. We were number 7 about 5-6 years ago in terms of ranking the population of people in this country. As we speak, we are number 6. And it's also expected that in 2050 will come to number 3. I don't know whether you know the implication of that. China was the most populated country before. Now it is India that was number 2. And gradually Nigeria is coming towards the number 1. Then you ask yourself question. Even when you are still struggling to have balanced food to eat, I'm not eating well. I am not eating well. I'm not addressing anybody. I'm not eating well. I don't have enough money to buy all that I need to do to eat well. You'll be surprised. My children are saying, at the other end. That is the truth. If I'm needs to take care of. You know, the higher you go, the more body comes to you from extended family. That's why I'm looking this haggard as you are saying. We need to make sure that our food resources are actually fortified, and we talk about transformation that need these 3 C's. We need integrity, and they mentioned, they said this is government, oh, this is government money, they say this is people's money. I think I got it very well. This is people's money. It's not government money. So you don't say that it's government money. No, it's people's money. Taxpayers' money. And you must account for that. So our integrity matters. We say they account people, somebody is going to talk to them. An expert of very high esteem is going to talk to them. And for that reason, we say we hold the farmers accountable when you provide resources for them. They are here, the community is here with us, and I'm happy that I have recognized them again and again. We are building this relationship to keep working together to provide solutions for them. Service is important, and of course we have seen that over the years, a lot of things is happening. Oh, you will watch, you can take it. That if you look, let's say Mr. Adesanya, is he around? Comrade Adesanya, you're around? If you look towards this side, you're going to see very beautiful rice growing there. You're also going to see beautiful maize growing there. And as you are looking through that place, when I'm talking to you, you are looking for where they'll be ready for you to buy. But bring it to you free of charge. Let the yes raise up their hands. But from the Adesanya, we will determine that. But the point I'm saying that it wasn't like this last year, not because the land was not there, not because there was no attempt to plant there. We planted there last year too. But the weather situation was not as good as this. You know, it has been raining and raining and raining. That even some points now, erosion is flooding. I was watching Onisha, maybe about 3 or 4 days ago, how flooded Onisha market was. Who is from Onisha here? So resilience in agriculture is very important in view of the rising problems that are taking place. But then, because of all of this, if you have to manage this, Akaraka comes to be. I'm going to say something here. I was in a class with Professor Adebayo for about 3 sessions in the university. It's a Bachelor of Agriculture. And therefore, from the 4th, 2nd, 3rd year, the 4th year are together. But the 5th year, you go to your department. Yeah, we have people in extension, and I'm using that as an example. You have extension officers. But even now, apart from the physical, you have extension. Data processing, report writing. And they say, if you want to take something from the farm, we can even extend it to doctors, to medical doctors, those in the laboratory. You will understand. Sometimes somebody is diagnosed wrongly. I don't know whether you are there. And they say you have malaria when you have typhoid. No, not you, so I don't think I'm using word. Somebody has malaria instead of typhoid. And they start treating that malaria, and the sickness is still there. Misdiagnosis. The same way, if you are not presenting the report properly, you fail to do so. Your character is questioned. It's questioned. Your integrity is questioned. Your accountability is questioned. And your service delivery is also questioned. The competence is important. Like you say, what do you have? What can you do well when you are equipped? Technical skills are important. Business skills are important. Because of your time, I'm not going to talk to all of these one by one. But I can say, even in this university, this college, we have expertise and we have progress and achievement we are making in this regard. Digital skills are important to the extent that a lot of us buy things online. We buy things online. If I call out the head of bursary now here to tell us something another where, is that you don't have to carry cash to buy anything from the college anymore. Because we have a machine that you can slot your ATM into it. And they debit you from that place. Those are going on. Mobile payments are possible. And we are also effecting that here. Management is important. Planning is very important. But planning is not just enough when you implement the monitoring and evaluation. The leadership team is very important. They are here. It's not easy to be on this side. When we are there, we are afraid. When we are there looking at it, we are afraid. Because we don't know whether we are going to please you. We don't know whether we are going to meet up with your expectation. So we are here with our high blood pressure, the diabetes, with the part from your front. But then we have a responsibility. And that responsibility is that we must show character, we must show competence, and we must display our capacity. Without competence, any skill you have is not safe. What about capacity? Capacity can be individual, it can be institutional. The community is very important in this framework. Farmers group, cooperatives, youths, that's why they are seated there. And the system capacity in general. Our policy, our finances, our research linkages, and all of that. Again, we say without capacity is like a tractor that does not have a driver. Or an operator. If I say a driver, it means I'm technically very wrong. It's a tractor that doesn't have an operator. And that is not possible because it can't move. You know, am I correct? It cannot move, so it's just useless. So that is how our capacity is intended and expected. You do as a random because it's just a small charge and provided. If you have a reflection and look at what you stand to gain in this period, or taking back from what I have said earlier on, we say three things are important in our growth in agriculture. I would say character is important, competence is important, and capacity is very important. Therefore, the three must match. Now, if you have two and you don't have one of it, it means it's you that try to do a plus and minus here. Character plus competence still makes your capacity very frustrating. No matter how much challenge you have. Because you are lacking one thing there, and that one thing you are lacking makes it very difficult for you to move on. You have competence and capacity, character is corrupt with efficiency. Yes, because you will not be able to deliver in time. Character plus capacity, of course, is good, but then because competence is not there, it means your competence is still very, very questionable at the field. Ladies and gentlemen, it's then important that we take how building these three things together and help us as a community, as a college, as staff, as students. We are organizing this workshop today under the 2025 Human Capital Development Project funded by federal government, organized by Felix Fantin. And it's intended that we do the ethics during the workshop. There will be mentorship when people, experts speak to us, and there will be reward for integrity. Hands-on training is going to go on. We have brought experts too. Benga is here. Benga is a friend, as he was told. Benga's wife is my sister. I think I've mentioned to people before that I have a sister who is in Oyo, and is Benga's wife. My sister in Oyo is Lara. That is the wife of Benga, who is here. When you say that, you want to bring these big people, what are we going to do for that? I said, don't worry, they're my friends and family. And so they are here. So it's going to tell you, it has worked with Kola Yopan before, and is now working with NRLS. That is National Cultural Extension and Liaison in Zaria. But the office here in Ibadan. He's going to talk to us. Industry and change. We're going to have some level of needs. And you will recall that I mentioned before, maybe at the management of the academic body, that the country itself through MPT, they are changing the curriculum in this college. And the curriculum is such that we have to do a 70% practical as against 30 that we're doing before. And then 30% theory. How does this sit? It sits very comfortable because this is like a land grant college of agriculture. And it's expected that we are not just training students for purpose of training them. It is expected that we are giving them ready for the industries. And therefore they should be competent to fit into the industries as quickly as possible. I don't know whether you have heard before here that Dangote will go to convocation ceremonies. And right there, I think there was one recently, whether it's Lagos or I can't remember, that he has to offer immediate or automatic employment. You know? Yeah, there were those days that when people are graduating, please can we have one house? Can we have one house? I hope there's no problem. Okay, register, please come to the front. Come to the front, sir. Please come to the front, sir. On the high table, please lead them to the high table. Please clap for them. I think it's great. Yeah, it was not easy. I didn't even have to talk to him. I just told the chairman of the organizing committee to contact him. Mrs. Coppola didn't know this arrangement. It was all my arrangement. So you are welcome, sir. You are welcome. We are happy to have you around with us. It used to be our own. When Professor Adebayo mentioned, it was all under what? Of Africa World University. We are still together. It's a more campus and more competition. Register your welcome, sir. Our laboratory experts will also help us when we start our practicum. And finally, there's somebody at the back. I don't want her to look at this front seat. Yes, it's not permitted to look back now. As a round of finally, what is next? Agriculture is not just a mere profession. I don't know whether you follow the trend. Somebody wants to go and read medicine. Somebody wants to go and do engineering. Somebody wants to go and do law and all of that. And they are struggling, and they are not helping us in the country. When we are looking forward to taking what they would have left for us. And my argument has always been that the best brains in this country should be one that will go to agriculture. Because it's the most important profession in the world. I don't have to go to the hospital. How do I eat well? Somebody has to and the person producing for me is the expert. So without any apology to Engineer Dr. Ilori, I believe that agriculture core is more important than engineering. I believe that agriculture core is more important than medicine. Let me hear your voice. If you are not in agriculture, I have no apology to you because I did agriculture. I chose to do agriculture and I believe that the best way to do it. Ladies and gentlemen, on this note, all our hands will be together, all our minds will be together, and we choose to move on. Is there anything you want to have to look at as a reflection? Our character on the field, our competence, our capacity. Anything missing among the three that want to work at it. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you very much, sir, for doing justice to that good people. A round of applause for the ladies. Thank you. As the program was ongoing, the registrar came in, and I'd like to recognize his presence fully and welcome him. He's no other person than Dr. Abibari Abbas. He's the registrar of the college. And we're going to go for a short break and have some group photographs. But before then, I would like to introduce also the person that will handle the CDK session 1. It's no other person. Mr. Boy Lukola, the Deputy Registrar, Secretary IRT. I will tell us more about him when it is time for him to mount the podium. You will hear more about him. So for right now, we're going to have 20 minutes break. It's going to be for photographs and break and photographs. So I will call the order of photograph. We can stretch our legs. I will call the order of photograph. We quickly do that. Then after 20 minutes, we come back to sit down to continue the session. Dr. Olawale Adebayo, the provost, and the management team at the high table first. Extension and Management. School of Agricultural Extension and Management. It's your turn. The HOD and all the staff, please come forward. Please suspend the greeting, take the picture. School of Agricultural Extension and Management. Agric Extension, Cooperative Commerce and Management, Agricultural Business. Next is the School of Applied Science. School of Applied Science. Science, Laboratory and Technology, and Food Science. The next after this, School of Applied Science. Science, Laboratory and Technology, Food Science. You are the next. Please come forward. Picture. School of Applied Science. School of Applied Science. School of Applied Science. DJ Mix Expo. Can we please go back to our seats? The program is continuing. Let's go back to our seats. Distinguished ladies Be responsible. Please, we are all adults. Let's have our seats. Please. Thank you. We are going to the syndicate session. Which is titled Dynamics of Service Delivery. Before we go into that session, I'd like to introduce to us the person that will handle that session. And I'm going to read the citation. I will ask Mr. Adeboye Abiola Popola to please stand up wherever he is as I read the citation. It goes thus. Mr. Adeboye Abiola Popola was born on 25th July 1962 at Ibadan, Oyo State. He attended Baptist Old Oyo State, now Osun State, between January 1973 and July 1976, and Modakeke High School in Ife between September 1976 and July 1978. He studied English at the University of Ife, now Obafemi Awolowo University, between 1979 and 1983, where he obtained Bachelor of Arts degree with honors. He later obtained a Master's in Public Administration (MPA) in 1989 from the same university. He had the National Youth Service at Eric Moore High School, Surulere, Lagos, between September 1983 and July 1984. He also had a teaching experience in Enugu Central Academy, Ipido Odo Sembra, Enugu Ijebu, between October 1984 and November 1987. Mr. Adeboye Popola joined the service of the Institute of Agricultural Research and Training of Obafemi Awolowo University, More Plantation Ibadan, in 1989 as an administrative officer 1. He rose through the cadre to become deputy registrar on 1st October 2009. He acted as the secretary to the institute from 1st October 2010 to 30th September 2011, when the incumbent secretary was away on sabbatical leave. During the period, we worked closely with the executive director and made positive impact. On the 1st of November 2012, he became the substantive deputy registrar and secretary to the Institute of Agricultural Research and Training, Obafemi Awolowo University, More Plantation, Ibadan. He was promoted to the post of Director of Administration with effect from 1st October 2017. Due to his versatility and proficiency in the use of language, Mr. Popola was appointed the chairman, IRT More News Bulletin Editorial Board from 2007 till date. Mr. Popola is an active member of the Nigerian Institute of Management, and he enjoys reading, playing table tennis, and listening to music. He is blessed with a beautiful wife, Olamide, children, and a grandson. Welcome to you. With a loud ovation, Mr. Adeboye Abiola Popola. And before I come to the podium, I'd like to introduce the people that came with him, the support staff that came with him. Mr. T.A. Sule, the Deputy Registrar, and Mr. Yusuf Eman, Assistant Registrar. We are both welcome. Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much. The Provost, Deputy Provost, Academic and Administration, Registrar of the College, the Bosan, all other principal officers, members of the management, heads of departments, deans, heads of units, directors, my dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. It is my pleasure to be here today to stand before you to talk on this topic, the dynamics of service delivery. I want to start by apologize that I got this topic only yesterday because I had a different perspective of this, but thank God we are here now. I'm saying that because I don't want you to look at the man standing before you and say this man is old. Even though I am. I know that you expect to see a laptop and projections and all of that everywhere. But I apologize because I know how to do that. But time is not allowed. Up to the time I came today because I was still working on my paper. So I have to apologize. So I will tell the registrar if you want this paper, I can send it later. I will believe that for occasions like this, it is better not to have a paper, not to say anything. That's my own personal opinion. Because sometimes we get distracted by reading and all of that. But I want you to listen. I want you to look at me like a minister of God, either in the church or in the mosque. Coincidentally, I'm dressed like a pastor, but I am not one. Because I'm here to preach the gospel of service delivery in the Federal College of Agriculture or Plantation and other. So having said that, I want to go on straight. I hope that I'll be able to finish all of this in maybe 30 minutes because I don't want to take your time at all. I don't know whether there is an question and answer session. If there is, fine. I'll be ready to take questions. But I want to go on to the paper proper now. As it is characteristic of me whenever I am called upon to deliver a paper like this, I like to start with defining terms and concepts that are key to me. And that is why today the two key issues in this topic are dynamics and we have service delivery. And we bring both together and you have the dynamics of service delivery. And I want to start by defining dynamics. Many of us here are science. Many of us have done physics in secondary school up to higher institution level, and therefore dynamics means something to you if you are a student. But for people like us who cannot add 2 and 2 together, dynamics may sound, should I say, out of this in the talk in the setting like this. That's how we find what dynamics means context that we have here. And therefore, so dynamics in general terms refers to forces or processes that produce change or development within a system. Like I said, if you are a physics student, you know what dynamics is. We are talking about motion, we are talking about but here, we are referring to dynamics as forces or processes that produce motion or change or development. But we can say, in this instance, why are we talking about motion? We are not moving from here to anywhere. But then, you are moving things. Your work is supposed to move things. And you are supposed to adapt to change and therefore bring about development within the system. Like I said, there is something entirely different in physics, but in social sciences, it depicts interactive forces, behaviors, and relationships that govern a group or a situation. So that's what it is in social services. And so you will not be out of place to say there that if we are talking dynamics here today, we are talking about changes that can bring about development to our profession as staff in the Federal College of Agriculture in Ghana. So that's what we're trying to talk about here. How can we effect change? How can change we are effective bring about development and thereby enhance service delivery? And I want to move on to talk about the concept of service delivery itself. And thank God, all of us are, most of what we want are IT compliant. And so I say, according to an overview of the artificial intelligence, service delivery refers to the entire operational process of providing service to customers and ensuring that their needs and expectations are met. I take that again. Service delivery refers to the entire operational process of providing service to customers, ensuring that their needs and expectations are met. And the question I would be asking me now, did you open a shop? Is this a factory? Do you have customers? And I say, yes, you do have customers. Even though, like I will get to later, you are not selling tangible goods, providing service to certain groups of people at certain times. Definitely, we all know that we have students here, and that's probably the reason why all of us are here, whether we are lecturers or technologists, or we're in the registry, we're in the engineering department, or anywhere we find ourselves. Practically and basically, because we have students. Sorry, ma'am. Is there anybody? Please, are we with me? I don't want to just blow grammar and go away. Let us please listen. We have customers, or better still, we can call them clients. Like I said, lecturers, your clients, you have students who you are supposed to deliver services to. You have the management, you have the governing board of the college, you have other members of staff. Probably maybe you are a dean or you are the head of the department. You have services that you are supposed to render and deliver to other groups of people around you. Therefore, that's what I mean by customers here now. So I'm not talking about buying and selling. I'm talking about the group of people or people that you have services to deliver to or to render to. And you need to ensure that their expectations are met. And usually the expectations of customers or clients are usually very high. They are usually very high. So the question to ask is, how do you meet those expectations that are already very high? And so I want to go on to say that the key elements of service delivery are quality. Like I said now, we want to see how it's not just about providing service. What is the quality of the service that you are delivering, and how accurate is the service that you are delivering? Timeliness is another key element. It is not enough to deliver service. You need to deliver it on time. So, timeliness is another key element of the concept of service delivery. And the third one is resource management. We all know that resources are usually very limited, whether human, physical, financial. Services are limited, and therefore you are working in an environment where you have to maximize those resources that are even not enough. That's what I'm trying to say here. Thank God, moving fast enough. I should be done in a couple of minutes. So I want to look at the concept of service delivery now. What is service delivery? The dynamics of service delivery. We have looked at what dynamics are. We have seen what service delivery is. So we are bringing those two things together now to talk about the dynamics of service delivery. And in my own summary, I'm saying that dynamics of service delivery refers to continuous exchange between service providers and the resources employed in delivering the services and the customers. So you have three parties here now. You have the service provider, you have the resources that are going to employ providing your services, and then you have the client, those that are delivering the service too. So it's the interplay between these three forces that we refer to as dynamics of service delivery. So like I said, your service delivery is supposed to do that for you. So it is not to be seen just as a process, that is the dynamics of service delivery. But rather, it is important to how well organizational goals are met. I know that we have different departments, different programs, different units, each having their different functions. If I may start by asking some of us that, do we even know the services that we are expected to provide? As administrators, we are supposed to help you to do that by letting you know what your schedule of duties are. So if you know what your schedule of duties are, then you know the kind of services that you're expected to deliver. The lecturer knows that he has to teach students, he has to prepare examinations, he has to mark those examinations, he has to submit the results to the bodies that will collate, and then get into the approval stage when the student now is done with you. And also, as academic staff, some of us are deans, like I said, heads of departments. We also have services to provide as heads where we are, to see that the unit is running smoothly, to see that staff are doing what they should do, and other things like that. So, whatever it is that you are doing it to meet the goals of the college. The college has goals, and you are putting those places to ensure that those goals are met. The dynamics of service delivery is defined by how our institution's integrity and clients' expectations interplay. Like I said the other time, you are in the middle of clients and the resources that you are employing. Like I said, many times, those resources are usually limited. So how do you scale through that issue? So having looked at this definition, we are now going to put this topic today in proper perspective. And I want to just throw these questions to us that we can begin to ask ourselves, that we can begin to ask each other to agitate our minds. What is required of us to deliver efficient and effective service? What roles do we have to play in ensuring that we are able to better the loss of clients and very at the long run the college as a whole? So those questions are things that we are asking ourselves in the issue of service delivery. So there are many issues in service, the dynamic mindset and our mentality. That's the first thing that you should be thinking about. What is your mindset in relation to the duties that you are performing, in relation to the service that you are supposed to deliver? What is your mindset? What is the mentality you have? And I'm saying that there's a need for us to change our mindset from self-interest or interest or groups, service first mentality. I'd like to take that again. I said that there's a need for us to change our mindset from self-interest or interest or groups to service first mindset. What am I saying here? We are all human beings and we are all put in one position or the other to do one thing or the other. But many times, what happens is that while we are performing our duties, while we are delivering those services, we usually think about ourselves first. Many times we think about ourselves first. We think about what is it that I can derive or benefit that I'm providing. I'm sorry. I'm just using example. Okay, let me use my constituency. I know those ones will not be too bad at me if I say something. For example, if the registrar of the college uses his position to say that students should not collect their notification of results, for example, unless they give something, maybe money or other things. We are not thinking about the service that we are supposed to deliver. We are not thinking about the client. We are thinking about yourself. That's what I'm trying to say. So, the lecturer too has students, and he's not concerned about whether the students on what he or she is teaching. He's only concerned about how much he can make from maybe handouts or something. That is thinking about himself and not the general good of the college. And I also talk about the interest of groups. Sometimes it could be tribalistic. You can say, oh, this person wants this from me, but it's not a Yoruba man. I am a Yoruba man. Therefore, I want to favor somebody who is a Yoruba man over somebody who is not. You are thinking about an interest. Or maybe the student comes to me and I know that it's the son or the brother or somebody that I know, and I therefore want to give him preference over others. Of course, if I do that, in providing service, I will not be fair, and I'm thinking of the interest of the group or myself rather than the service that I'm supposed to provide. So this is what I'm saying here, that we should always have the mindset of service first. Let's think about how do I deliver the service that I'm meant to deliver and how to deliver it well. Like I said earlier, we are talking about services, we are not talking about things. It's not a concept of biscuit that I want to sell to somebody and I know the price and the person agrees to the price and the right. Services are intangible. You cannot see them, you cannot touch them. And so, it is difficult to measure how well you have provided services. If I have 100 of biscuits in my shop, and I can sell 99 of them in a day, and I say, oh yes, I've done well today. But in a situation where you are delivering service, and you cannot even quantify in numerical terms the service that you are delivering, then it becomes difficult to measure whether you are doing it well or not. So service delivery is not just about timeliness. It is good to be timely. You have timelines and you are supposed to do things, but also it is about consistent accuracy. Consistent accuracy. So I repeat that again. Service delivery is not just about timeliness. I've said timeliness is one of the key accuracy. So you are accurate today and you are inaccurate tomorrow. The measurement of your service delivery is on the low side. I'm trying to say, and so we must be very mindful of that. And talking about things here, I want us to look quickly at the digression that is relevant at the concepts of efficiency and effectiveness. Thank God. Building capacity for excellence, productivity, and effective service delivery. And I'm just trying to say here and now that what is efficiency? Efficiency is the ability to accomplish tasks or produce desired outcomes with minimal waste of time, money, effort, or resources. I take that again. Efficiency is the ability to accomplish a task or produce desired outcome or results with minimal waste of time, minimal waste of money, minimal waste of effort, and minimal waste of resources. The Wikipedia defines it as such, and in summary, you can say that it is the ratio of useful output to the total output. I remember there was a time somebody said something that years ago, he was accusing somebody and he said, why is it that you are busy doing nothing? I didn't quite understand what that person meant at that time, but I did later. You can be busy doing nothing. I can see you carrying files, I can see you writing memo, I can see you going up and down, and at the end of it, you have done nothing. You have wasted time, you have wasted resources, you have wasted effort. And that's why it is important to note that while you are performing your duties, delivering service, there's need for us to take note of efficiency, which, like I said, is minimal waste of time, minimal waste of money, minimal waste of effort, minimal waste of resources. Some of my colleagues are here, I tell them in the registry. You can do a memo 5-6 times and you are wasting people. It's so painful. But then it's because of our duty, sometimes you can't avoid that. But you know, when it amounts to carelessness on the part of somebody, then you begin to raise eyebrow. It's because you have not read what you should read about properly, and I can see a collection of crossing I's and dotting T's, and therefore I have to waste paper. At the end of the day, I use boring of paper to produce the name. I use maybe 50 sheets of paper to produce. You have wasted time. You have wasted resources. You have wasted money. So efficiency is the ability to say that. Is the ability to accomplish the task to produce desired outcome with minimal. Efficiency, therefore, is about cutting or minimizing costs, resource utilization. It is about cutting costs, it is about minimizing resource allocation. And on the other hand of efficiency is effectiveness. I was telling somebody something. You can be very effective but not efficient. And at the same time, you can be efficient but not effective. Like I said, you have been busy doing nothing. You could have been efficient, but at the end of it, nothing is coming out. No effect. Or the other way around. So, effectiveness, on the other hand, is about the end of the process. So there's a process that we have to engage ourselves in accomplishing our tasks, in delivering service. It's a process. That is efficiency. Then the end result of that process is what will determine whether we are effective or not. So if, for example, if we are in a meeting and the secretary has written minutes, and at the end of it, his corrections all through. How effective has the efforts been, the process of writing the minutes? I'm just using it as an example. I'm sorry, I'm from the registry, so if I'm using the registry, don't mind me. And so, like I said, efficiency is the process, effectiveness is the end result. And therefore, we can conclude that the key elements of service delivery are: 1, quality and accuracy. I've said that over and over again. 2, timeliness, and 3, resource management. We need to avail ourselves of the opportunity of information technology. Internet is there for us now, AI is there for us, and so many things. But I want to start a lot of money. I was discussing with one of my colleagues, I think 1 or 2 days ago. We were talking about a memo that was written. And my colleague was telling me that memo is generated by AI. For an administrator, I thought it was this. Everybody did that. I'm not saying that we cannot use AI to gather information, but for you to just generate a paper and it will be totally AI. When I was preparing for this paper yesterday, I was discussing, my wife was there, my son was there, and it was like, can you say I to generate a paper? And I said, in my mind, I would never start before you here to deliver a paper that is generated by AI. Of course, I saw some things that are big from there. But thank you. I think it would be unfair if I just generate a paper of AI and I myself, I don't take it more than I don't become busy. You don't become complacent. A lecturer can also say, generate my lecture notes via AI. I want to ask, why would you do that alone? I'm not saying you cannot use AI. Please don't misunderstand. I'm only saying that it's not like you generate it and then just bring it to class and you need to give it to students. No. You are going to have to. Teaching is much more than that. I'm just using those as practical examples. We need to seriously consider the practicalization of policies and practices. We need to reevaluate traditions by either upgrading them or doing away with those that are not useful anymore. In the College of Agriculture, I'm sure that there are certain things that have become tradition. This is how we do it. Am I correct? And you say the College of Agriculture, want to do example, I'm just using it as an example. This is the time to do it, this is how to do it, and therefore nobody must do anything different. That can happen. Traditions are good, but then we need to upgrade the traditions. We need to also do away with those that are complacent. The tradition is getting outdated, it's causing trouble for you, and it's not helping the organization. We can do away with them. And all this will come back to us in delivering service. That's what I'm trying to say. As a member of staff, we must demonstrate commitment to organizational goals and excellence, or remain in the shadow of inactions. As members of staff, we must demonstrate commitment to think about things that are making progress, and there are others who are frictions. It's when we tell them that this is what we can do to improve. What they will tell them is that no, in the days of proposed 20 years ago, this is how we used to do it, and therefore any new idea we want to get to see. That's not fair. And I think we need to upgrade our traditions, reevaluate them, and do away with those that are not useful to us. We must demonstrate our commitment to the goals of the college and to its excellence. And all of us brings me to a very important unraveling of now. This brings us to a very important concept or current issue in service delivery, and this is the concept of employee engagement. Employee engagement. Business dictionary defines employee engagement as the emotional connection an employee feels towards his or her employment or organization, which tends to influence his or her behavior and level of effort to work-related activities. Emotional connection. My emphasis of an employee with his employment or with the organization of which he or she is employed, because this tends to influence your behavior and level of effort to work-related activities. According to Professor Olukule Yenda, I don't know whether he's still president or as head of office, was president and chairman of the council of the Nigerian Institute of Management in 2019 at a registry discourse we had in UI. He went on to describe employee engagement like this. He said engagement involves the job itself, whether it is mentally stimulating, the trust and communication between employee and management, the ability of an employee to see how their work contributes to overall organizational effectiveness, opportunity of growth, and level of pride an employee has in being associated with our office. So are you proud to be staff of the Federal College of Agriculture? Or are you just grab your picture at the end and go away? That's what I'm saying. You need to have an emotional attachment to your college. On WhatsApp, I see some of staff who are not management staff posting notices of admission, information from the college for the general public to see. You can only do that if you have an emotional attachment to the organization you're working with. So that's what I'm trying to record. One, employee commitment. And here, we're talking about trust that exists between the employer and the employee. Trust your employer. If the provost comes today and says, this is what we want to do you trust him that what he's doing is in the best interest of the college? That's the question. Do we trust our employer, those who have put us in place? I don't want to go to the federal government now because you've asked 90% of us will say we don't trust government, and I won't blame you. I don't know whether I don't say that. But exists between the employer and the employee, trust each other or one another. And the second component is motivation and stimulation, whether external or internal, either for yourself or by yourself or for organization or by the organization. That's what I'm saying. The drive and stimulation, whether external or internal, self or organization, is it induced by yourself? Is it induced by the college? Whichever way, you need to be motivated. And this brings me to what we call the 4 P's. The 4 P's. Number 1 is promotion. Number 2 is praise. Number 3 is prestige. And number 4, paycheck. These are the 4 P's in employee engagement, and 4 of them are very important. We all want to get promoted after doing our work diligently for the number of years that is required. So promotion is a form of motivation. Praise is a form of motivation. It can be formal, it can be formal. There are some staff sometimes that are singled out for commendation during annual review. review because of their performance over the years or during the year position. It is important to praise. And as heads, all of us, most of us are subordinates. One way or the other, you have people working with you, under you, even if it is one person. Let us learn to praise the good deeds of people working with us. Doesn't take anything away from you to say, oh, thank you very much. You have done this job very well. I am happy with you. That motivates staff. More than anything, you can think. If you give money, it's prestige. Let us learn to let people understand that they have prestige. It is necessary for leaders to discipline. I'm begging, I'm preaching the gospel. That don't let us do it to the extent where we make them lose their prestige. If we do that, you are disengaging that person. You are coming to that. But there's need to praise people and good work. And then self-prestige in the work they are doing. No matter who is a neighbor on the farm, doesn't mean how is prestige or prestige. And of course, your paycheck, very important. Are you with me? I said paycheck is very important. Because at the end of the month, when it's like now, today is 24th, and some of us are now looking at our phones, expecting our salary. And when it doesn't come, what does it do? It demoralizes us, isn't it? So I'm saying, receiving your paycheck at the end of the month is a form of motivation. And that's why people in management will not sit back to watch you suffer when the salary is not paid. And the third one is organizational citizenship. And here we're talking about sacrificial behavior and contributions without expecting anything in return. I want to repeat that. Organizational citizenship refers to sacrificial behavior. Your behavior in the office, does it show that you are sacrificing something? Sacrificing time? Sacrificing your resources and your contributions to, without expecting anything in return. So if, for example, we want to carry out an assignment and I have to use my money because I know that maybe when I will have rights to the program, I would like double of what I spent. Your initial action of committing your resources may look like an act of commitment, but by seeking something else in return, you are quantifying that commitment. That's why. Like I said, it's a teaser. I'm asking if you are engaged. So maybe when I finish now, you can answer me. Do you enjoy your work? I know you don't want to talk about your roles as well. Are you happy with the college? And do you strive to make it a better place? If you are doing these three things, then you are engaged. You are an engaged employee. That's what I'm saying. If you are ready, if you enjoy the work you are doing, and you are happy with the college, so it's not that I don't even know what to say that I'm gaining this work. Are you happy with the college? Do you strive to make it a better place? If you do those three things, then you are engaged. Are you disengaged? If you do not enjoy your work, and you are often unhappy, and you are toxic, then you are disengaged. are disengaged. Are you toxic? There are some people whose work is to go about either maligning people or maligning the system, maligning even themselves sometimes. You can't know it. If you are doing all of that, you are disengaged. So we've had two now. I've talked about being engaged, I've talked about being disengaged, and the third one is that are you not? There are people who are not engaged at all. And these are the people that are not engaged. You are neutral. Come to the office, people maybe before 8 you are in the office. You come, your boss says, please do this work for me. You have done it. It's 4 o'clock. You carry your bag. That's the end of everybody will become something for that day. And there are people like that. I know you won't answer, but there are, I know. Do you add value to your work environment? Do you add value? When you are around people, that's all. And I want to ask us, which of the three is best? To be engaged. Thank you very much. And I hope I'm praying that. That's why I said I want to preach the gospel. I'm spreading the gospel of engagement. Please be engaged. Love your work. Love your work. Be interested in development and nothing else. Be interested in the development of the institution. There are challenges in service delivery. We said we want to save ourselves. There are challenges, and challenges are almost universal. And the first challenge is the issue of institutional or operational bottlenecks. Where government service, I mean, we cannot deceive ourselves. There are bottlenecks of bureaucracy. Before you want to do work, you must write to the rules, to see comments, to come back to somebody, and you go to the street. That's one thing. Then you have to start again to ask for funds, goes to accounts, goes to audit. You have to use or spend 2 or 3 weeks before you can get it done. That's a very clear. So we have those challenges are there. So no matter how willing you are to deliver services effectively and efficiently, you have people who are management in the registry. There are times when somebody is misbehaving for it. The staff is not doing what he or she is supposed to do. And you want to discipline that person. And then somebody is coming to you saying to bear and say, please, the job is my sister. We are from the same place. And then you not do that again. Please be merciful. And if the person you are going to meet is saying no, then that person is treated as the devil himself. Meanwhile, you are the one interfering. You are the one who is interfering. Please let us avoid interference. And lastly, corruption. I don't know what corruption is. And then we have the issue of capacity, whether human or infrastructural. And then we have resource gaps. Questions of lack of power. You want to write a simple memo, maybe you need to meeting, there's no light. The generator is not working. It's taking a whole day before you are able to accomplish that task. That's a bottleneck. Office equipment. The computers are bad, no printers, no photocopy machines. That's the story that is all over the place. Sometimes people don't even have offices to work in. We have it in higher attitude. I'm sure that some of you here will also get it. How do you perform your duties? How do you deliver efficient service if you do not have the space that you can sit down? It's not the fault of management, it's not the fault of it is only the situation that we find ourselves. I'm always trying to say that while we're talking about service delivery, we are also recognizing that these challenges do occur. And my summary, my conclusion. Right, I concluded that the issues that beg for resolutions in service delivery are: one, how do we balance available resources with our customers' demands? How do we fuse the components of service culture, service quality, and customer experience? The answer lies with you and I. Everything is our attitude. Attitude is everything. Like people say, it's your attitude that will determine your altitude. And we always say that. But when it comes to practicalizing it, I wonder, our attitude, what's your attitude to your work? What's your attitude to the environment you find yourself in? What's your attitude to the calling of agriculture? And I want to end by sharing with us the concept of what we call the 3 R's. As delivered by our former registrar of the University of Lagos, Dr. Taiwo Olashade Ipaye, as one of our registry resources, the University of Ibadan this year. The 3 R's. The first one is reboot. And what do you need to do? Start afresh. Create a new version of yourself. Adapt to challenges that arise in your workplace. Improve efficiency and efficiency. And then the second R is recharge. You gain new energy or spirit, inspire and invigorate afresh by injecting fresh energy, efficiency, and pump. And the third R is revitalize. We must recharge our batteries. The mission and effectiveness of the college. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much, sir. Another round of applause for this. I come justice to that session, dynamics of service. I would like to ask if any of us have any question, maybe 1 or 2, 3 questions last week. Any question for him to answer? Any question? This shows we all understood perfectly what everything he has taught us. So let's give him a round of applause for that. I will call on the provost of the college for his closing remark. So sorry, sir. Someone has a question to ask us. Please come forward, sir.
Thank you, sir. Well, our presentation. It's not a question per se, but based on the service delivery, the way it is presented to us, my observation is that as we have lecturers, the academics here, we have those that work on the farm. We may be having one time with activities, but I want to believe that those on the ground, they are operating with tangible things that can influence and impact the community. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Service delivery. Like I said, well, I agree with you. On the farm, you can say I expect you to produce tons of maize this year. That's quantifiable and you can see. Then, do you agree with me that you can provide what that person or that person's attitude, that person's disposition is still not positive? So, that's why I talk about attitude. You can do the work, but what yourself, what are you doing? That's the question. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Immediately the provost finishes his closing remark, We're going to first stanza of the national anthem, and we're going to read it. We're not going to sing it. Then immediately after that, we take the remaining photographs and we go for our registration.
Let me stand on the established protocol. The closing remarks will not be today, but finish today's activity.
Now we all stand up. We're going to read the third stanza. I'm happy to inform us that for tomorrow's sessions, we're going to have group trainings, different groups. So all of us will need to gather here first, do our registration here before we move to our different groups. So please, let's take note of that. And that will happen on Friday as well. 9 a.m. prompt. 9 a.m. prompt. Thank you very much. Third stanza of the national anthem.
Third stanza.
Third stanza, please. Or the last stanza. If we know it offhand, can we read it out? O God of creation. No, we are going to read it. O God of creation, direct. O God of all creation, grant this our own request. Help our nation where no man is oppressed, and so with peace and plenty, Nigeria may be blessed. Amen. I think this is a challenge. All of us we should learn this. Let's show that love to our